Or should I watch the chat?
I think we
So,
are live. It does. You can either do it on YouTube or whatnot.
cool.
Hey everybody, let me know. Android, what's up, buddy? Let me know if my voice is sounding good, and then Seb,
Hello, hello.
if he's
You
sounding
want
good.
to
He's
say
actually using something very cool that I was very impressed with leading into this.
it's not what you think.
Yeah, not what you think. Yeah, I thought it was something completely different. So for those that don't know, this is Seb. Seb
Hello.
is kind of he's a 501st
I like
Star
how you
Wars.
said that first before
Hey, let's
all
talk
my.
the real. But then the cool. Okay, well we'll save the cool stuff for later, I guess. But he's I'll actually let you explain who you are, man. What is
Oh,
it that Seb does
at this
besides
point,
everything?
exactly. At this point, I'm someone who just works here. That's the easiest way. But no, in all seriousness, I'm a weird cross between a publicist, a community manager, and a social media manager. And I'm really lucky to work with three amazing clients in the audio industry, being IFE, Rasan, Alexander Rasan, and the Red Zero, and the Hop Audio, which is a new company that got founded this year. So, been a
Very,
wild
very
ride
cool.
for the past year and a half now.
Because you're coming off of an IEM role from that, right? So that's
Yep.
kind of like you went from one IEM role into like,
Yes, the irony is the only client that I don't have is with someone in the IM world. So that's goals for the rest of this year to get someone signed there.
that probably shouldn't be would be too difficult. I can't imagine. You're pretty fantastic at your job, man. Um,
Not rushing it though. Has to be the right fit too.
key right there, man. I agree. What are you sipping on?
I am sipping on a local distillery called 477 Distilling. They're out here in Greeley, and this is a so
Ooh,
focus almond.
Amaretto. Nice. That's sweetness.
So if you know anything about me, you know that I'm a sweet tooth too, and that's especially the case when it comes to my liquor.
That's fair.
But not saying I won't be in the mood for whiskey in a barrel.
Was gonna say there's something that's gonna be it's like pretty much a no in the high end whiskey groupings or what have you. But like there's this thing, what's it called? Um, it's out of Canada and it's whiskey, but it's mango flavored whiskey and it's pure dessert. Like it tastes like a mango.
I'd probably
Uh,
love that. Just keep that in my like right by my bed. No,
it's
I'm not alcoholic.
yeah. And it tastes pretty good. It tastes like a mango dessert for sure.
And that's at that point, it's just pure cracking cocaine.
Yeah, yeah, it is. Resolve posted it. I didn't pay attention. Right? Whoops. Did Resolve post a video on the stealth today? Apparently.
I didn't even know he posted it. I've been out all day
Yeah,
packing
me
for the
too, man.
gym.
I've been yeah. I then right before the stream, I cranked my shoulder workout. Like is I've shoved a 2 hour workout into like 40 minutes, and I skipped like probably the last two or three. I skipped my crunches and I skipped my calf raises. But
More reasons why we're the same person that I was working out right before this too.
yeah, I was just like
Had to fit one more time on the bags in before not having
yeah.
bags and just shadow boxing for that next week.
Dude, that's pretty cool too. Because you're doing Cali and what other? Are you just doing mixed martial arts
So
on top of that, or are you doing more of the jujitsu stuff?
no, so I'm doing boxing, kickboxing, and Kali as my main three right now. And then I started JJ, but got injured
Mm-hmm.
about a month in, so that's been kind of on hold. And we'll see. We'll take a look probably next month when we're back from the show and feeling better entirely.
Dude, uh, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu is no joke, dude. I dabbled in it with like I never did it more than for like a couple months or just like I said dabbled went to a couple
Yeah.
classes and with friends and stuff. Excuse me. And I've never been big on like grappling. It's just not something I'm a fan of. And so
Tell me about it.
and so it's not one of those things. And yeah, Cali sticks, exact stick fighting is
Yep.
what we're talking about. So the But anyways, every single guy I know that's ever done Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu has had your injury that you had. Like, literally every single one. And it's funny. And I remember coming, they'd always have, like, burst blood cells in their eyes. They'd have, like, they're always the most
not that
beat up guys.
Like, it's just an accepted fact that you're going to get injured. It's
You're going to get the crap beat out of you at some point, no matter what.
Mm-hmm. It's part of mixed martial arts, and it's a trade-off for what you do.
When I was into it when I was younger, I did Kaji Kimbo was one of my mains, and God, I remember I was a soccer player, so I was on an all-star soccer team. I was on varsity soccer, so I was like constantly playing soccer like year round, and I remember like I had a soccer injury on my knee, and I was trying to get it to heal up, and I was going to my martial arts classes, and I remember doing a sparring, and there was this older dude. He was like, I don't know, he's in his 20s, and he's just this huge yoked dude, and he was kind of one of those aggro guys, you know. And I was like, hey, and even the Sifu was like, don't sweep the leg, don't hit his knees. He's injured there. This is a friendly spar. First thing the guy does is sweeps my knees, dude. And like I remember just laying on the ground going.
Yeah, I just Kali sparred for the first time a week and a half ago. Scary. Yeah. Even with the full gear that we use, it's so scary.
Oh, it's fast. It's especially you get someone in there that really knows what they're doing. It's fast.
It's just 1, 2, 3, back off. 1, 2, 3, back off. And then hopefully we'll be kickboxing here in probably about 3 months or so. I still have.
Very cool. That's way cool. It's funny as my wife has Kali sticks. I should find them. She took it for a while. They're so sick too, man. Like proper Kali stick. Oh, they're so cool. Anyways, I also did another fun one is God, what is the name of it? It's similar to Kali, but it's the knife fighting.
Eskimo? Or is it not?
Yes.
That's
Eskimo. Yeah,
we do both.
Yeah, that's fun because I did that as well when I took a little bit of the Kali stick fighting stuff, and I was never the most coordinated with the sticks. Not gonna lie. But and I always just dabbled, man. I never did proper. I did Kaji Kimbo proper for a long time. I did Krav Maga a lot of Krav Maga.
That's a bucket list one for sure.
That one's fun. It fits more of my style of fighting, anyways. But Eskrima, thank you. Yeah, yep. Hey, I once fought a child with a breadstick and an Olive Garden.
Oh my god.
That's legit. It's legit.
Hi, Chris.
Chris. Anyways, we got into a fun little topic there. Like that's I always loved that stuff. The knife fighting. One of the things we used to do is we'd wear it was when I was in law enforcement stuff, and so I was fighting the instructor guy, and we'd put on white t-shirts. We just go out and buy a bunch of white t-shirts for everyone to wear, and then we'd get markers, like permanent markers. And we'd use those as your knife. Flash. Yeah, and that's your knife. Yeah. And so
how many times that's funny.
Oh, dude, it was nasty, dude. And the funny thing though is that, and it was a really important lesson was that I learned anyways, was that no matter what, if it's a knife's out, you're getting cut. It's just if you're going for
that's why you run cut. First.
That's why you run. Yeah, you run away. Oh, yeah, so that was my lesson. Was if a knife comes out, run the way.
you only pull out your knife when you're attacked. When you're attacked, you always try and get out of there first.
Yeah. And always. And that's the other thing I've always known about like fights is like the best fight you can be in is the one you walk away from, right? Like that's the one you win the most is the one you walk away from, like never even actually getting into it. So, anyways,
wow, it just got deep there.
Yeah, it did. We went deep into some martial arts stuff.
We aren't even drinking it. No, I'm kidding.
I know, right? I even really started sipping on my old fashioned. So I'm doing a Garrison Brothers out of Texas. I'm not a big fan of it as a straight whiskey. But so anytime I have a whiskey I don't like, I turn it into a mixer. And I use it for my old fashions. Wow. And it's expensive too. It's a pretty sought after whiskey, and it just didn't sit well with me. Like so, it's funny because like whiskey and all things kind of actually goes into the audio world, and you can appreciate this. sometimes you're just not going to like something, even if a lot of other people love it, right? Like, it's just the nature of people.
Vegas
Anyways.
2020.
Yes. Don't make this awkward, man. So,
early.
Android asks, "Are you wearing Mest? Is the best Mark II custom in ears?" I did see your post earlier.
I'm not wearing the custom because it is currently lost to DHL.
Ugh, Mo flickers.
I did not think they were going to be delivered. I thought I was going to be out, so I had them redelivered to redelivered to a pickup location. That pickup location was when they closed. The delivery arrived after they closed. It's currently out for delivery now again, and then if not, I'll be going to an address I have in California.
Oh. Fair enough.
So all boding well, I'll have it before the show somehow. But Andrew and Music Tech and Unique Melody were kind enough to send me this universal for the show in case anyone wants to listen to it.
Nice, very nice. I like the Mest. I had Ant's V2 and my V1, and I sent my V1 down to I almost said the bad version of his name, Precog. So Precog has my I almost said the audio discourse version of his name. So he has my Mest V1. I'm not sure if he's taking it to CanJam or not, but so he has that. And then the only one IEMs I currently have on hand, I think, are my Andromeda Golds, which,
wow,
a fun fact. Seb and I are both Campfire Audio fans, to much of the maligned community. That isn't proper wording, actually. That's not accurate.
That's not English.
Yeah, basically we're the outliers of some of the different community groups there.
Yes. I can say we can appreciate the good stuff, and then we can understand why the bad stuff is, and not the bad stuff. Why the Precog's favorite word, objectively bad stuff, is bad. Phrasing. I am a member of the trade, so.
Touche. And that's another thing. Like, so, your introduction earlier was, so yeah, Seb is a member of the trade, and so yeah, he's got a lot of fun stuff. And apparently, Android has flipped roles with me, because usually I have all of Ant's stuff, but now Ant has all of my stuff, apparently.
He's putting in the work. You gotta get those 80s funks up high.
So actually, real quick, so I actually want to because I was impressed with this. So, what are you using as your microphone right now?
Oh, Ant's gonna not like this because I'm shilling my own products. But I'm using a Go Blue right now as our mic. If it will focus, and there's a mic down there.
You have to cover the eyes.
Huh? There we go.
There it is.
And the mic is that little dot right there.
That's impressive, man. That mic I'm actually really impressed with that mic. Like, I thought it was a Rode wireless, one of the Rode wireless ones. That's pretty impressive. That's pretty cool. Yeah. And it's got 4.4 on there.
4.4 is all you need now.
It's funny because, yeah, go ahead.
I hate 2.5 with a passion.
It's funny, man.
Like, on certain products, I should say. On certain products that always break.
Yes.
Agreed. Sometimes they don't break at all. It's just like, wow, I've like taken this to the gym more times than I should, and it hasn't broken yet.
Dude, that thing's I'm impressed. Like, even like it's a good mic, and it's like I was kind of impressed with it initially, just from the reading the all the fun fact sheets and stuff. But it's cool. Oh, Android coming in hot. He's asking if it hisses.
Depends on what you're using. Campfire, yes, but Mest, no.
I mean, Campfire is always going to be the hissy boy. I was going to say, so one of the things that's funny is I got the Mest version, Ant's Mest version 2, and it I didn't have so I only have two sources that have 4.4. So I have actually I have it right here, my Canon N6i Mark II, and then I have the Sony ZH-1ES, and I don't have the Sony hooked up, and my Canon battery's completely dead, and it's dead again because I always forget to power it down, and then I forget to charge it, and because COVID, and I never use IEMs anymore. So I was like trying to listen to this mess, and I didn't have I didn't have any cables that fit the Mest V2
because I thought the Mest adapter either.
Yeah, and then I didn't have any adapt, and so like all my cables are 4.4 as well.
Come on, Tyler, you should know better.
I know.
At this stage in your hobby,
yeah,
you should know better.
Which it was funny because I have every single cable in MMCX because of the all the Andromedas and the because it's what I. But like a 2-pin for my Mest, like I basically bought nothing but 4.4 cables for it because I was like, why would I buy anything else?
Guess you have to get Diablo back from wherever it is now.
Right now, that's with Grover. So Grover has that, and he's gonna be doing a review on it here in the near future. So that'll be fun. So he'll be posting that up, and then he also has the Burst and Funk that he's gonna be putting out. Nice. I think I'm going to do a live stream with him next week. I think.
Cool.
And be fun. So Seb, I want to know, what is it that Seb does for fun outside of audio and mixed martial arts?
It's like we already talked about one. The biggest part of my time outside of work is dedicated to mixed martial arts, and it's like my gym has a really great community around it, so that's where a huge part of like my friends outside of Star Wars come from. And then third biggest thing is with Star Wars and the 501st and costuming and that whole aspect of costuming for charity. And that's really where, outside my university friends and spending time with them and family, that's really where I'm like the three delineations of my life.
Which I posted his Seb's, for the people watching, his Instagram's below, and you can see a lot of his cosplay and his 501st stuff. It's pretty fantastic. Like, it's legit. Like, it's not like cardboard boxes and stuff. It's like legit, like proper like outfits. It's not. I wouldn't even call them costumes. They're like actual.
They are not costumes.
They are legit.
This is my PR guy speaking, but for those of you who don't know what the 501st is, it's for the world's largest costuming club. We have over 15,000 members worldwide. Pretty much every country, every city, every province that you can think of.
Mike, I think the mic's starting to cut out. Yeah.
Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3.
Yeah, I was just having a little bit of cut out. Android was.
Every city, every province, pretty much every country around the world now. We even had someone in Antarctica for a while, which is a pretty fun fact. We build costumes, specifically the bad guys of the Star Wars universe, but we have sister clubs that do the good guys, the Mandalorians, and then different subgroups down that path, and we all tailor our costumes for screen accuracy, making that screen accuracy or film accurate, meaning we look like we jumped from the screen into real life.
I was gonna post the picture as from our site for the thumbnail. Was the one where it was the movie character,
yeah,
you,
half and half.
and then you in costume. I thought that was the other one I was gonna have.
Cool one. That'd be a cool one. And then the reason why I joined is that we do so much charity work. It's entirely community based and charity based for the majority of our events. And I never thought I'd be cosplaying in the first place, but I wouldn't be costuming in general if it wasn't for the charity aspect of it, which is the best part.
Yeah, that's really cool. Like, it's super awesome being able to give back to a community, or like give back to, and like seeing, like, even some of the pictures you posted of like the kids interacting with the different people and whatnot in their uniforms and what have you, and it's like the joy you can see is it's real, and it's really cool to see that, and to see that kind of excitement and joy from a kid. Like, it's
really heartwarming every single trip that I go through, no matter how big, how small, if it's a Lucasfilm event like a sports game, or if it's something small like a walk, like the photos I posted last week. And
Yeah,
there's
it was
all
really
you're always gonna find a Star Wars fan in your. And like the best thing is like not only being another way of being an ambassador for a brand, but also being an ambassador for Star Wars in general.
cool. Yeah, and that's the thing, man. I mean, I don't care who you are. Like you might not. It's very rare. I could probably say there might be some, but like it's very rare for someone to not like Star Wars, you know, or at least not have seen it or have any recognition of it.
Yeah,
So,
and that's like the beauty of it. Is like even if they don't recognize my character Kylo, they'll still know who Darth Vader is and call me Darth Vader because I'm dressed in black. But it's just recognition that they know what Star Wars is, and that's enough for me.
what drew you to playing like the dark side characters?
The opportunity to wear a helmet, ironically enough, because shockingly enough, probably about 4 years ago, 5 years ago, before I joined the club, probably the shyest person that you've ever met, which is shocking considering how you know me now. The shyest person you ever met, always in the back of the room, would never put my hand up, and I really wanted to start going out my comfort zone with something that I could feel comfortable in. And then the best choice of that was choosing a character with a helmet, because people wouldn't see me outside of the people that we troop with, our term for going to events together, and that really helped me. I mean, costuming in general really helped me bridge that gap and break out of that shell.
That's cool. Dude, I'm a big fan of that. Like, kind of, and that's why technically that's part of the reason why I started doing one, photography, two, writing reviews when I was writing reviews, and then the YouTube video stuff. Was me basically seeing something that I wasn't good at, and then saying, well, I'm just gonna dive into it. Like, just do it. You know what I mean? Like, and just kind of that uncomfortableness of it, and just trying to break through it.
And it's really interesting, like taking note, because I mean, we're so different in age, but it's the same concept. Not showing off how much of a boomer you are to me, but where it's so interesting, like seeing.
What are you trying to say, Seb?
you know, it's really interesting seeing how, like, for really over the past 5.5 years or so, for me, seeing like where those gaps in growth have come in, and seeing where I am now, like with it jumping into MMA without zero hesitation as a
perfect example.
I need to do this, and if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it now, and then
just do it.
Like where I am now, transitioning MMA back into film and stunt work is like my big picture goal with that, and it's like everything builds up to each other, and it's been super cool seeing, like, even with my career, I never expected to be working for Alex and Rasan. And it's just like making all the dots connect. It's so weird. And like half of them are just being in the right place at the right time, or just having a friend that introduces you.
Well, and that's the other thing too, man. Like, it's funny. It's because you actually have a really cool clothing company that you like to represent all the time, and it's that's true though, that statement of just be a good person, and a lot of times when you do that, it tends to come back on you. You know what I mean? Like it does. Like if you're a jerk all the time, no one's going to want to talk to you, and then therefore you're going to miss opportunities. You're going to miss, like, you know, it's one of those things. But yeah, I think that's key, man. And then also the willingness to try new things. And that's the other thing, like I always joke about. It's like, you know that it's time to give up when you stop trying to learn. You know, like,
and it's like I've never really been someone that's good at tests, but when it's something that I'm passionate about personally, I will study that day in, day out without you won't like with, you know, the MMA is like my example in life now. It's like it's homework, and there's always something, like, that's like the beauty of it, is too, that there's always something new to learn. There's always someone better than you, and there's always a new way to fail and welcome too.
I agree. I agree 100%. One of the things my dad always said, he'd always say, it kind of falls into this. in the sense of there's always someone better. So he'd always say there's always someone bigger, better, and badder than you. It doesn't matter what, where, when, and how. There's always going to be somebody that's going to be bigger, better, and better than you.
I'd question that and say how jaded he was against life, but
well, no, it's just that was his way of like keeping you on your toes, right? Like you pay attention because even though they're bigger, better, and badder than it, his final thing to that was always like, even if someone's bigger, better, and badder than you, if you pay attention, you could always, no one's infallible. That was what the overall goal of that discussion was. But it was, at the end of the day, someone's always going to be stronger than you. Someone's always going to be smarter than you. Someone's always, and then even if you are the top prime person, give it a couple of years, and someone's going to be better. So,
and like all of those people, just like us, have shot themselves in the foot plenty of times too, and
puff up real big, and then that sucked.
There's a reason why they're in the place that they are now, and you have to like it's like going into a new gym to train. It's like this is their house. Respect it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's another thing I loved about martial arts, because it really taught me a lot of patience and respect. And just how to better act, I guess. Because when growing up, I was bad. I wasn't a bad kid. I had a very hot temper, so I was constantly in and out of the principal's office, or I never went to like anything crazy. I never got into big trouble, but I was, and I think it's because people liked me a lot. Like the teachers all loved me and the principal loved me. And so like, it was one of those things where I'd go get in trouble and they'd be like, and then let me, but
I mean, that's how I was too in school in a weird way. I was like, I was always a floater, but I never really had close friends outside like 5 people, and never got in trouble because I never did anything, which I learned later in life might have been a mistake. But I think that slow development period, like 1 through like 20, was like what made me be so like cautious and always listening to people. I mean, like it's never a bad thing to be quiet when you're really paying attention. And like, I'd rather listen and learn than talk so much and not miss something or not care about, like come off as not caring about someone. I don't know. Mm-hmm. No, I'm just rambling, but
no, dude, you're good. I actually agree with you there. Like I think that's kind of one of the things that I think it was a life lesson for me without even realizing it was I think the reason I never got into trouble was because I was generally nice outside of getting in trouble. You know what I mean? Like I was, I think it was that, like I was a good kid. I listened to the teachers. I listened to the yard duties. I always, you know what I mean? I was respectful in that sense. But so the thing that I got in trouble a lot for was I didn't tolerate bullies at all as a kid for some reason, like at all. And so I would like go out of my way to take on bullies.
Tyler was the guy that bullied bullies.
Yeah, but even if they're bigger and better than me, like I would just come out of nowhere and try my best to like, like I don't know, like that's probably gotten a lot of trouble as a kid. I think was because of that, and I think maybe that was also a factor of why I probably didn't get in as much trouble when I did, when they did break up the fight, But I don't know. I was a kid. I didn't really I wasn't that paying attention back then, so who knows? I'm just speculating now on the past, but
I was the kid that got bullied, and like that was a huge part in, I don't know what took me so long to break out my shell too, because like it's so interesting like looking at kids like growing up now and be like, we did this for the most part really up until like my sophomore year without social media, without phones. And
dude, social media is scary, man. Like that's it. Like I'm kind of worried for my dog a little bit about like stuff.
I'm someone that works in publicity social, and it's like it's so weird. It's seeing those two perspectives of like these are all the benefits of it. These are all the best parts of like having a community to go to for all the different things that you love. It's the best part of like being able to search the way that you can search now and all stay on top of news. But like then there's also that huge downside of like everything that you don't see behind the scenes.
And like I've been lucky in that I haven't had too many controversial things in my time in social media. I've had a couple, but nothing that's extravagantly bad. But I mean, I've seen posts and I've seen private messages from others, and I've witnessed, I should say, some pretty sour stuff, man. Like where like full on. This is a hobby. Like the social,
Yeah.
like sorry, even social media, even the photography side of the house, even like anything that anyone's into. Like these are all things that are supposed to be fun and a hobby,
Yeah.
and you get some people that just can't, man. Uh, like legitimately doing death threats over a audio review. Like,
Yeah. And it's
come
like
on.
it's so interesting because I mean, when you see a brand interact with someone, you never know who that person is, unless it's like a situation like where it's like, "Hi,
Yeah,
you know
I know
seven,
Seth.
Seb runs all of IP's social accounts. I run all
Yeah.
of Brad's social accounts. If you see a reply from something, chances are it's me, unless it's
Hmm.
like 1 o'clock a.m. and it's someone over in the UK.
Yeah.
But it's like it's so wild seeing how positive things can be and how supportive some customers can be, but also the perspective of like the people who will forget there's another person on the other side of the screen. And it's like, you're
Dude,
really
it's
gonna do
nuts.
this over like crazier things have happened, but like
Yeah.
gone also gone the death threats, gone people who want to sue us, gone people who
It's
send a box of poo because
yeah.
they plugged in the wrong PSU and fried
And
everything, but
fried everything. Yeah.
they're blaming us, and it's like, what?
Yeah. You did
Like,
that. We did do that.
this is my trade off for like. I mean, I'm really grateful for it overall. There's no discounting
Oh
like
yeah.
the joy of being in house for my first job versus
So
being with agency.
so here's a fun fact. The whiskey group that I'm a part of on Instagram, like so my Instagram, I don't post the most audio stuff anymore. I take a lot of pictures for headphones, and so a lot of
He's quit audio officially.
the socially, yeah, like on mine, like I will post some stuff, and I'll put but like a lot of the photos I take for like audio gear, it's for headphones.com, so all those go to the headphones.com account, and I'll post those with their watermarks, but anyway, so I post a lot more whiskey stuff, and I lucked out and I got into a really cool. It's almost like a weird like roulette, right? Where you're like, let's throw these dice, or like let's spin
Yeah.
that thing. And I lucked out and got a really cool group. I got instantly in with a really cool whiskey group that wasn't very snooty, and they were really chill about everything, and they're really accepting. Um, but so speaking of that, like those swings of social media, right? You can get in to a group, and I've seen this as well, where you get into a group that's super negative all the time, and then that colors your outlook and your viewpoint of that hobby, of that just how you also interact with
Yeah.
others. So even if you get into a group that is very positive, you're gonna instantly already have that negative kind of outlook and prospect of like how you interact.
I mean, like
Prospect.
the weird thing is like shout out to Ant because he's here, but I mean, I could be a perfect example of that because I won't mention the last brand that I worked for, but like that brand was super in perspective, disjointed and cut off and uptight about how they engage with the community, and
Mm-hmm.
like joining IFB, who is a company that has a I think pretty rare perspective of go be friends with everyone and you never know what can come of it, and
Yeah.
represent the brands that you love and go talk about the brands that you love too because it's good for us in a way. And like the same thing of like that should go down into like finding you guys of like where it's so weird having like, especially it kind of have come at a better time too because of COVID.
Oh
But
yeah.
it's so interesting being a part of that. I wouldn't say like good group or bad group, but being part of the community that really cares
Mm-hmm.
about its people. And it's
Yeah.
like, but it's still work too, which is like the
Oh yeah.
weird perspective, half and half. I always have to.
Balance. Yeah. And that's the other thing is finding the balance, right? Like so, and that kind of like the social media stuff. It's funny that there's these massive swings of very positive groups and then very very negative groups. It's like there's
Yeah.
and in the middle group, it's almost. I mean, like in real life. Like, you know, if you look at the populace, like the biggest group is usually the ones that are just there having a good time, and they don't really care. I mean, they're not like they're probably leaning more towards the good time stuff.
But like it's not discounting if you have an area if you need area grievances, you can.
Yeah,
because there's an avenue for it, and there's like an avenue for people to get those feelings out, but also people to support them too.
Yeah, it's called the what's Ant's. I know I call mine on my. I have a little. I should actually invite you. I think you're in there actually, but I call mine the pit.
Yeah,
it's like, or like you know, you have a little section where people can go and kind of get it off their chest, whatever they want to get off their chest. But even beyond that, even in the normal chats in different groups in the forums, and what have you, I think as long as you stay respectful and you stay understanding that there's other viewpoints across, you know, everyone has unique viewpoints. Like you can align like crazy, like almost be 1-to-1, but there's always going to be something that you don't align with, right? Like
there's some things that just aren't okay at all.
Yeah, like that's just the way it is. I mean, individuals are always going to have like you know what I mean. Like you're going to be pretty close to some people, but you're never going to be 100%.
Being on the production side, being in house is like that's the only way the industry goes forward too, is with that competition, collaboration, and like having those different viewpoints of like, what do we think about, like, this is a perfect example of like, what does the younger generation need, and what can we do to help them break into audio by providing better products at a more swallowable price point than someone like Bakun, who makes a freaking amazing amp for 6,500, and like it's like the best of the best, but there's a reason.
I don't know if I can.
Oh wow, what a flex!
or you can have. Well, you can't even see it, but like that's my monitor with my TT2.
Speaking of bacon, but but like having those two interesting perspectives, like there's always gonna be someone to fill a gap. And like that's like the most interesting part about the line of work that we're in. I think the hobby that we're in, there will always be a question that is answered by someone, even if that question isn't asked.
And that's key. I agree. Like, and I love that. Like, I haven't heard it. I haven't seen it other than what you just showed me and some of the stuff from Headphones. But like, that little blue man, that thing's cool. Like. Crap, like that impresses me enough. Like just the microphone alone is impressing me enough to be like, I think I might need this in my life, you know? Like but and it's funny, I've actually always been a pretty big fan of actually I always call it iffy because I think it's hilarious, but iFi. And
blame we're seeing it blame Senior C for that pronunciation. But no, that's so funny. No, People just know me as Iffy Man now.
Iffy Man.
You know, Savvy is pretty iffy.
Dude, like I had, so it's funny, if you go back on the forum, like back a couple years back, when I was first really getting into it, like one of the things I would take on trips with me whenever I was flying for work and stuff, was I'd take the Nano, the Iffy Nano, iFi Nano, and my Cascades. And that was my on-the-go listening setup.
Wow,
like,
that's a
warm, bassy, beautiful thing.
I thought I was a basshead until I met you.
But it was great. So on an airplane, I mean, they weren't noise canceling, so like you had to have that bass to kind of overwhelm and which is probably bad. I probably have hearing loss. Who knows? I probably do. I guarantee I have hearing loss. Who knows? I don't know. I'm actually. I need to go to get tested. But when I got tested last, which was like, wow, it was like 2 years. It was like right after COVID.
You've listened to a lot more music since then.
And I have been. But like I had perfectly fine hearing, so I'm not too stressed about it. But and I've always been real cautious about listening because I have sensitive ears. So like as soon as I get above 80 decibels, it naturally will start to be like it's weird, man.
It's not even like an after ring. It's just like a piercing sensation.
Yeah, like it's weird. It's one of those things where I just instantly know I'm like listening too loud, or to me listening too loud, even though it's well within reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those things. My favorite listening volume or decibel would probably be 75 to 80 would be like my general listening, with peaks into the high 80s, maybe 90s.
I'm around there too. I mean, that, and like the really interesting part of like our hobby and our line of work is like how we're taught hearing, even
protection and like here, yeah.
Like anything for protection, just like what does a sound signature do, and like how do you read a graph, like all that stuff has been so cool too.
Yeah.
Like
it's funny
what do these squiggles mean? I don't.
What are these squiggles? That's exactly, like, even me, like, I'm not the biggest frequency range guy. Like, I mean, it's pretty well known, I think, at this point. But like, but at the same time, I appreciate and respect what it is, right? Like, I think that it's important. It's an important thing. Like, even me giving crap to certain other measurement people and all that fun stuff, like, I still can appreciate the work put into it, and I can appreciate the value added, right? Like, even if I don't agree with it all the time, I can definitely see the value added to some level, right? Yep. So, and actually, I have another question for you.
Go for it.
So I'm a big fan of what would the term be? Basically, like custom made or unique one-off type stuff, or like, so I'm a big ZMF fan, right? Like, I love ZMF stuff.
We can see why I work with the people I work with.
And so I just wanted to show this because it's one of the things I got recently, and I'm just in love with this thing.
Oh, speaking of, funnily enough, totally unintentional, but he just followed me back on Instagram today.
The Angry Goose?
Yeah.
Dude, the dude is awesome, man. So this thing, like, I remember when I first saw it. Yes, dude. Like, he does some phenomenal work. He's up in Canada, and like, so this came in, and I wasn't really like I didn't have any expectations, right? So it's Purple Heart with ebony, and it has cork on the bottom.
Oh, that's
like
cool.
And it's like perfectly blended to the stand. Like, the craftsmanship and the quality of this thing is insane to me. Like, it's so well done. This is my best headphone stand I own right now. And then it has this really cool like leather strap that you wrap your cables in and stuff. So anyway, so there's a point of why I'm talking about this.
No, you're just rambling off.
I'm just rambling. That's another thing I do. I do have ADHD pretty bad. But this thing holds my headphones are in here. But so like this thing holds headphones like really well. Like, and it's just easy to use. Boom, just pops on, and then you wrap up the cables and clip them on. But anyways, so the point I'm trying to make though is something I found in audio is, even with like companies like iFi and pretty much all of them, they're all just a higher, different level of that. Like, they're all like these.
I mean, like,
kind of.
You could not take two different perspectives with iFi, who makes a large production, a bunch of different products that answer a bunch of different questions, and one person set up, or it's like they take a look at Rasan, who makes one headphone really good, but one off for every single time. And it's like, it's so interesting working for two different people that have completely different but almost similar to, in a way, production mentalities.
And this is why I wanted to talk about this, because you actually have a very unique perspective of actually having a definitive in on both sides of that house.
Yeah.
And like you just said, I personally, and I've always felt this way, I just never really had to it was something I kind of thought of more recently again, where I was like, even like the Phonitor guys, SPL, even Chord, even though these guys are like big production people in iFi, and then the passion that they have for their stuff is very similar to the same passion that people that are making like these headphone stands, ZMF, Rosin, they're making art, like, at the end of the day, right? Like, that's the cool part, and they're pushing their art. You know,
it's almost like a three-pronged perspective, like where that art comes in for us, of like where you have the art and the tuning and the driver type, the technical that goes into what builds the headphone. You have the art and like the actual final product, like with Rosin or ZMF, like choosing your wood or choosing like the 6 colors that goes into your resin pour. And Alex and the team will spend their day after day working on your headphone and like manually painting and stirring everything. Or like Zach with how he finishes his wood by hand, and like their team that does crazy stuff in a different way. But like it's the same perspective, like with IP amp, with chords amps, it's like we're all, and then like the third perspective is like this is how we all hear our music. And like that perspective is like rough on campfire all we will, but like all their IMs are voiced in a particular way, and it's the same with all their amps too. And it's the same with, I mean, eventually with Rosin's headphones, or like where you have different tuning options, like you can choose all that stuff, but it's all more. It's always more choice.
And dude, that's the amazing part to me, like that part of it too. And part of the reason why I like doing these live streams with people, and like I'd like to get Alex on again at some point. Did I have him? No, I had him with that. We were on the headphone show for that one. But like I'd like to do a Rosin Alex one here, and then I want to get Zach and Bevan back on eventually. Hey, Snow Ranger, what's up? But I want to do more of those because one of the reasons why I like doing them, and even like with you right now, Seb, is like it adds humanity to the name, right? Like that makes sense. Like, so it's one thing to see a screen name. It's one thing to see.
No, I'm kidding. But it's like it's humanity, but it also you understand. Like it's really hard for me. I mean, easier for me because it's my job, and I was trained as a publicist first. But it's hard for me to put our design thoughts and mentality into one 3-page reply on a post to a question.
Yeah.
Versus a theoretical discussion like this.
Well, yeah, actually perfect. Because like I have an email that someone sent me, and they asked me they requested my thoughts on a good. It was an amp deck. It's an email. I still respond to it, but that's the thing. Like I see it, I'm like, oh, I need to respond to this.
Ghosting.
Yeah, but it's like one of those things where like, but then I want to take the time to answer it properly, so which in turn makes me like not answer it longer and longer because I keep going. I'll be on my phone. I'm like, I can't answer this properly on my phone.
You do it on your computer. You write it out over and over again. You look at it, delete it, write it out over and over again.
Yep.
First draft is never the last draft.
Yeah, that's funny. That's also regarding like forum posts. If something I've always said to people. Even if you don't know this, like, is if you're posting and you're mad or overly happy or just overly emotional in any way, shape, or form.
Just ask Torque. He knows he's got me enough.
He is the best. Or Torque's the best, dude. Like he's been a huge mentor for me when he actually took me under his wing when I first came to the forum, and like truly one of the greatest people to. I lucked out, man. Like having him be local as well, and same with like Antdroid and like some of the other community members in the area.
I can see why that could come off as XYZ. I didn't think about this. Let's edit that before people read it.
Yeah, dude. Like I mean, Ant can even attest to it. I know, but like I'd constantly be like, "Am I doing this right?" Like, because I'm a very cautious person about that kind of stuff. Like I don't want to upset people, and then I know I have a weird humor, so sometimes I'm super sarcastic, and I think people take it seriously, and then I get in trouble because I'm actually joking, but people think that I'm being serious, and then I can get I get real careful about how I interact sometimes regarding that because I think I'm hilarious.
Can't do that unless it's private in my line of work.
But that's the problem, right? Because I think I'm hilarious, and then it comes off as no, you're just being a jerk right now. And it's like, oh, that's not what my intent was. So it's tough, man. Like it's definitely another side aspect of like the social media world.
It's be so interesting seeing where I am like 20 years from now, but like even now, it's like I'm still technically a junior/associate in my if I went down a more traditional career path, down publicity, going to agency account coordination. And it's like it's speaking of mentors, it's like so weird having that perspective of like, because I did 10 internships, like 10 to 15 internships throughout my college career. Having IFE be like my first like true proper, even though it's not proper at all, it's very unorthodox, like my first true full-time role. And like having those mentors like be like, hey, this is how we do things, but the weird perspective of like everyone on the team is on the same level, and like your perspectives are valued, your connections are valued, and
go ahead. Sorry.
And like adjusting to that from being an intern for the past 4 years to having this as my life now was like the weirdest change for me professionally.
But it's like, so, because I'm prior military, for those that don't know, and that's kind of like the military way. Like, you always have somebody that's a upper rank that's always takes you under their wing, and they teach you, and they, you know, like they keep you. If you have a good chain of command, or if you have a good command or a group of fellow military members, I don't want to, but there's usually always someone that will take you under their wing. And I was lucky, I always had good people take me under their wing. Once again, that's just, I mean, I'll say I lived a pretty good, lucky life in that sense, where I've always had pretty good mentors that, in my opinion, helped me out a lot. But it's key, like what you just said, it's key, man. It's for me anyways, and I think we're similar in that sense. Like you mentioned it earlier, is if I have a good mentor that can help me feel comfortable in the space, while at the same time teach me in a way that I can quickly learn, is
Well, like also from my perspective, it's like it's like looking back, it's like one of my mentors was like the first person that gave me a volunteer role in social that eventually transitioned to doing publicity for the 501st. And that's how I got to where I am, realizing it's like, I really like this kind of storytelling. I don't like doing film production in the true working on set, that kind of production. This is where I want to take my career. And having that person guide me throughout, that shooting myself in the foot, helping me like believe in myself again. But like, it's like maybe 3 or 4 really important mentors in my life that have been like, you can clearly tell where they impacted me. And it's like same with Alex and his team too. And it's like, it's so interesting like seeing
Alex is like, such a character, dude. I love that dude.
It's like, it's gonna be so interesting finally hanging out with him in person, because like we've only done like over the phone.
Same.
But it's like, I know we vibe because we're like part of the weird kids in school.
Yeah. Well, like I think that's another thing that's kind of interesting with like the people aspect of it, is being accepting of other people. I think is key.
Yeah.
In any line of work, really, but like especially if you're doing like social media stuff, if you're doing
especially in the 2021 climate now.
Yeah, man. Like, come on. We're all beautiful snowflakes. And let's we're just a blizzard of beautiful snowflakes.
It's like it's so interesting working in publicity and social. It's like we're all humans, we're all emotional. I get carried away sometimes, as some people in here know, and it's like
the opposite. You do tend to post a lot of gifts, but I appreciate it.
It's all in good heart. mostly. But it's like doing more and being in my line of work has also made me like, I don't know what the better wording for this would be, like not as much of a snowflake as I feel like a lot of people are.
Yeah,
it's trained me into always leveling out, always watching what I say publicly, you know, always like, I don't know, thinking about everything before I do it, and it's like not taking things personally as much too, versus a brand.
And that's actually, as there's 2 things I want to talk about that you said. I would say that's true empathy. Like that's something I've always had. I've always felt a strong. I've always felt I had a strong empathy, like meter or empathy bone. whatever you want to call it. But I think that's a key factor, right? Being able to take yourself out of yourself and look at somebody else and go, well, they have a perspective. They have, they're not just an NPC in my world. They're actually another.
Like the way I like to think about how one of my mentors taught me in the publicity world was like, where is their empathy of me, or where are they coming from? What were the situations that put them into this point talking to you? And if you can gather a story from like whatever post, whatever replies that they've given you, if you can't make one up, and go with the worst case scenario, and then meet them halfway.
Lowest case denominator, and then push to where you can meet in the middle. That's spot on. That's really good. So I've had a lot of de-escalation training. I've had a lot of that kind of stuff, and then just from being the turd that I was growing up, like I learned a lot of hard lessons in that realm, in that regard as well. And so de-escalation is key, and being able to, in any situation, and it's a skill that you can learn. Everyone can learn it. It's just taking the time to stop, and it only takes seconds sometimes, but just to stop and go, what are they thinking? Or like, how do I put myself into their shoes? If I'm angry, especially if I'm angry, if I just got mad, that means something went wrong. And I need to now figure out, why am I mad, and how did I contribute to this, and how do we de-escalate it back to a normal situation? And it's something I think about a lot when I'm in those situations. And so actually I actively avoid those and try to not let those situations come into play.
Like in my line of work, though, sometimes you can't. And you have to find what the best solution is to get out of that rock in a hard place. And sometimes it's, there's so many different. Stop. Yeah. Yes, that's always a solution. Just stop applying.
Alex said, "Stop, drop, and roll." Thank you, bud. Thanks for the
yes.
Screaming alpha, as we like to call them.
As an MMA, we learned you roll. You roll instead of stopping and dropping.
Stopping and dropping, yeah. Like, okay, time to duck out. We're out. Stop, drop. It's it's one of those.
Turning back to audio, it's like so interesting seeing how, like, behind the scenes, which I can't talk about much. Like we have those different subsets of like, these are the groups, these are the focus groups, these are what they bring to us, and this is why we have to choose everyone, level everyone out.
And well, here's another thing that's really interesting to me is, speaking on that, like, because you are an insider. I'm technically an insider, and so you do get insider information, and it's one of those things where you can't talk about it. You just can't. It's just because then you're breaking NDA. There's all these things you can't talk about. And so, and I'm familiar with it because I come from a world where I held a very high clearance in the government, and I held, it's like I understand that coming into it, but a lot of people don't get that. And I've seen certain threads where they're demanding, something, so you should be telling us this. And it's like, well, I can't. I can't even tell you that I know that. Like, I can't even acknowledge.
That's another really interesting struggle that I always have in my daily tasks. Is like, when a question like that comes up, it's like, what's the 1,000th way that I can word the same response to this question? Be like, it's like the easiest response is we cannot confirm or deny anything. Like if it's about a product launch,
of course,
until after that product is announced.
Launch.
Sorry,
people don't take that. People won't take it though. It's crazy. No. So I know what I've learned actually. Another approach to that is, it's tougher. It's easy. It's hard. It's easier for me. It's harder for you because I'm not technically an insider. But like, I just can ignore it. Like, I'll just ignore the question and just never. You know what I mean? Like, I just never got that. So like that's the thing that's like one of those. It's how do you convey that level of, and that's where I was getting at with the empathy part of this, is some of these people. It's like how I'd love to break the code of having an answer for those people where they all of a sudden go and have empathy towards you. You know what I mean? Like where you give them an answer that goes, oh yeah, they're a person too that can't take, you know what I mean? Like I know there is a way to do it. I know it's just me being impatient and being lazy about doing it, but yeah.
Like the unprofessional is like, sorry, bro, I signed an NDA, I can't tell you. But like, it's like, why can't you tell me? It's like,
And I just told you, I signed something that says I can't tell
you. do you know what an NDA is and why I've signed my life away like more years than I've been, more times than the years I've been alive now? It's like, you get really good at keeping secrets in my line of work too.
So Ant asks, when's that new 4.4 millimeter? Speaking of 4.4 millimeter,
how can it be as big as possible?
Just say NDA.
NDA.
I think that's perfect. Anytime anyone asks a question, that might be that's the answer. Anytime anyone asks a ridiculous question, be like NDA.
It's like, I'm a publicist, but I'm also an actor too.
Yes.
So, there we go. I thank those 10 internships for teaching me how to be media trained in these situations. It's so helpful in life and in work too.
Yeah. Actually, it's funny. Actually, one of the things. So I have a pretty long storied career of randomness. So one of the other jobs I did for the government was I ran search and rescue for the Coast Guard for almost 10 years out of the Puget Sound, and so that taught me a whole nother level of like interacting with people, because I'm interacting with people that think they're dying, and so and that's a whole. Like, you want to hear some crazy stuff. Like, try to talk someone down from thinking they're dying when they're not, but they are adamant that they are, and you're like, you're okay, it's okay, calm down, and you can't be angry, you have to be even keel, you have to, because you don't want them to freak out, because then they'll just make it worse, and so it's one of those things where it's like, that taught me so much on how to interact with people, on a different level, man. From telling, I mean, it had its highs and lows of, I had cases where you rescue kids to cases
stuff that never leaves you.
Or the worst cases, where you have to go tell a significant other or a family member that their person has passed away from, being on the ocean or what have you. So those swings as well. There's things where that teaches you a lot, right? Like where you can appreciate that. For me, that taught me a lot on how I can appreciate my interactions with people in general. Like that. So I think that helped kind of like temper my steel for doing. I'm not infallible. I still make stupid mistakes, and I still, because I'll be drinking or I'll be doing stupid stuff, and I'll say something dumb, I'm sure. But anyways,
I mean, like going back to empathy, it's like the most important thing you can ask in a conversation, whether it's like what we'll all be doing in a week, going to Canada and meeting someone new, or meeting someone new at your gym, is like just asking them, how are you? And starting a conversation that way, because you never know where that conversation could lead. Could be a new friend, could be a new client, could be something that
could be your worst enemy.
Or that too, or someone that
go the other way. It can go the other way. Don't get people too excited. But
trust people. Other people will be a good person too.
Yeah,
and that's what we all say.
Sorry, I did put a little damper on that, but like that. But that's true. Like, and probably like 90% of the time, you're gonna meet people that are generally chill, even if they're people that you would think that would be the most. I don't want to throw anything like under the bus.
Or
so, like,
throw anyone in the bus.
Yeah, like I don't want to be like, or like any kind of group of people. Or so I'm trying to think.
So we're not being like Taryn.
Yeah.
Sorry,
poor
Taryn.
Taryn.
That was Taryn on the bus.
Yeah. But like what I'm trying to say, like you don't want to be. How to put this? Like there's even the people that you would think completely would not agree with anything that you believe in.
They can shock you too.
They could still be good friends. You just have to realize when to cut off those certain aspects of your friendship to allow for it to be a friendship, right? AKA the whole like at family dinners, you don't talk money, politics, or religion. It's the same thing with people, I think, a lot of times. in general. And by that I mean like
Yeah.
anything that's a hot topic. So that's it.
I mean, like, if anything, everyone learned that in the 2020 climate, whether it be political, race-based, and like everyone who knows me knows I don't tolerate racism. I don't tolerate stupidity in general when it comes to being educated about what's going on in the world now. And it's like I've had to make those hard decisions too, of like where this person won't learn, but this person I can meet them in halfway. And this person I can still be friends with. Like, we just have to not talk about this, and they understand.
Yeah.
They understand that too. So
perfect. Sorry, there's some really good answers. Ellenrick answered really well. He's like, I can't tell you. And then they say, but why? Because I value not getting sued more than your selfish belief that you deserve to know.
I should use that one. I'm seeing that IP right now. That Ellenrick IP right now.
I can only tell you that I can only tell you what is publicly available if you signed NDA. Yep. And then Ant, of course, classic lines. Those are all from my military past, as a matter of fact. Need to know basis. That was a very real thing for me.
And it's like, it's so interesting seeing how, like, from your background and being like security clearance and stuff, and it's like, oh, security clearance. Okay, I understand. Whereas the part, it's like a product, and it's where like I want it. Give it to me now. It still needs to know. It still needs to know. Like, people have been.
There's trade secrets. There's there's all sorts. Sorry, I interrupted.
No, you're good. And it's like we have things that are coming out. Phrasing, things that are coming out, and it's like distributors are already telling them because they know their dates, as we know, as you know, with how the headphones.com works. Like, they know their dates, they know what's coming. They can tell them, they can ask them nicely to keep on the DL, which these people have, but I can't confirm it. Like, I can say soon. You maybe trademark. And it's just like, it'll be worth the wait. I swear to God, it'll be worth the wait.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. It's like it kind of goes back to the whole, like, even video games, right? Like, it'll be ready when it's ready. You don't want to be that video game company or that company that releases something, half cooked. Yeah,
and it's like it's like with our stuff with AMR, like our super high end stuff. It's like there's a reason why stuff hasn't come out for 5 to 10 years now. It R&D, will, man. But that R&D has been trickled down into everything that you see that we've made. And it's like, being on the flip side has been like, I mean, that's the beauty of it in-house, because when you're at an agency, you're working with clients and you're only working with them on what your role is, whether it be account coordination, publicity. And it's like, but being on the in-house side, which is really, really rare for people of like my, I should say, people of my skill level, experience level. It's so interesting. Oh, this all makes sense now. Why these things happen this way? And like with release dates, stuff being put back, where this stuff comes from down the pipeline. So, agreed. No one sees the big picture unless you're in-house. Is the best way to put it.
And that's very apt. Like, it's, and even then, you probably don't have the full picture. There's still still stuff that I've worked at government to corporate to, and I've never had the full picture ever.
There's stuff that I found out about a week before launch, and like, pardon my French, why do you not tell us? Why do you not tell us about this when we gave this info a month and a half ago? Yeah. And then there's stuff that I find out about a year and a half in advance. Like, that's really cool. I can't wait for that thing. Yeah.
So now, sorry, people are asking. They're talking about GTA 6. Be ready when you're in your 60s. So
I don't work for Rockstar yet.
I'm a big video game guy too, and actually recently, so I've been trying to find a good set of gaming headphones that plug into my controller, because I'm a big. I play PC games too, but I just find it so much because I'm on my computer all the time for like
Yeah.
editing videos, photos, and so I want to go down and sit. And on top of that, like my daughter can be sitting right next to me. I can have like where if I'm in here, like it's rare for me to be in a spot where I'm actually comfortable with it. So, anyways, long and short of it, so I play console mostly. And I just always grew up with consoles. I was started with the Commodore 64, went to the Nintendos, and I've had Nintendos. I don't know if you can see my tattoo. So
I
if I can get this to, I don't know. It's a Nintendo controller, and I got like a bunch of Nintendo characters, and there's Samus.
You should probably break that pose so it doesn't get phrasing, but with a pose.
Yeah, but sorry, but anyway, so I've been playing a lot of games on my. I have an Xbox and a PlayStation and a Switch and what have you. I'm one of those weirdos that has all the random consoles and never any time to play any of them. But I've been playing the crap out of Destiny lately again, which I've taken like a 2-year hiatus, and then a bunch of my friends.
You're not the only friend that has recently started. Like, you should play this with me. You should play this with me.
Yeah, dude. I was like, and there's people that I would never expect, like people that I want to play games with because I haven't played with them in years. Games, and all of a sudden they're like, "Hey, we're all playing." I'm like, "You're trolling me right now." Like, 'cause these people they viciously disliked playing Destiny back when I was way into it. And now all of a sudden they're all like, "This is the best game ever. This is so much fun. This is great to play with friends." And I'm like, "What in the Twilight Zone is happening right now?"
COVID-19.
Yeah, and it was it was like and so anyway, so they sucked me back into Destiny. It was like giving crack to a crack addict, and all of a sudden next thing I'm like, "Oh, I need to go get all these guns now and all these armor, and I need to play all this stuff." And
I mean, that's on my laptop. Like, I've been on the laptop game for like the past 6 years as a student. Like, that's like been the one downside of like my gaming is like that limitation. But like my weird thing is like I've always been a PC gamer. I never really got used to using a controller. I've always been WASD. Get that on this side. I want like
it's pretty.
I'm the friend that wants to use. I'm the friend that wants to use a keyboard and mouse. With you guys are all playing on your joysticks and rubbing your knobs like that. But like I've always been like someone that can segregate work. This is my gaming time. It's all I've had, and it's like that's like when the graphics prices hopefully drop the cards. That's my big.
Actually, I finally got a 3080. Finally, it's so funny. I've been wanting a 3080 forever. I had a 3070, so I'm not like I wasn't hurting by any way, shape, and form.
You want to sell me that one?
Oh man, like I wish I'd known. I actually sold it to one of the community members. I'm a big fan of only if I don't like the scalpers, dude. Like, they are the bane of. Anyways, so I sold it for under the cost of what I bought it for, like a normal person, and because it was used, and anyways, and like so, it was our boy, Mr. I get all the graphics cards on Ants. I don't want to throw him under the bus by telling him.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah, and so he's like, "Oh, hey, I won another lottery and I have a 3080 coming.
How?
You want it?" I'm like, "How do you your 10th one?" Like, but yes.
Do you have a wife? Do you have a girlfriend? Yeah. Is that your girlfriend?
And so, but yeah, like it's just crazy, man. Anyway, so I finally got 3080. I plug it in, and all I've ever used it for was I turned on Destiny and I turned on a couple games just to see the graphics and Cyberpunk 2077.
Yep.
Played for like a couple minutes and then went back to editing photos and videos. I'm like, God. But anyways, yeah, ridiculous.
It's so weird for me. It's like I've never really had a place where I can put a gaming PC. And
you do now?
Now I do, and now that's why I'm like, thank goodness I'm signing more people because I really need those. That hustling.
Need a hustle.
Hustling to pay off for
more toys.
That 3080 life. It's like, go for it.
Yeah. No. I was gonna say it's expensive, man. These things are these toys. Like, I mean, I have, and I don't even get like I get paid for photography, but I mean, this is not a cheap rig. You know what I mean? Like, this is my photography rig. I have my and I mean, I'm lucky because I had a career already, and I have, I built up a nice whatever. But anyways, like, beyond the point. But this stuff's not cheap by any way, shape, or form. And I fully appreciate when people are like I look at my stuff sometimes and go, this is stupid. Like, this is dumb. Like, why?
Me having about probably $30,000 in my room of like company stuff I've been loaned, stuff like 10% of the stuff I've actually bought. That's why I always say, like, our running joke in AD is like quit audio, but like you can't quit audio unless you work in audio. Then you can quit audio.
It's a true story, man. Like, it's no joke. Like, I was talking to somebody else about it, and I was like, they're like, well, what have you bought recently in audio? I'm like,
Nothing.
Nothing. I mean, there's, I think the most recent thing I bought, I think, was the TT2, which was like almost a year ago now. Like,
it's like, if I buy something, I always have to sell something too. Because
and I did take it back. I did buy something recently. I did buy something just the other day, and it's actually a duplication of something I have. So I'll be selling some stuff that's duplicated. But actually, I might try and do a deal. I might wheel and deal for something that I might want. But
purple CMF third tail.
It's potential. That is a potential.
Oh.
But yeah, like, so I think, like, so, like, for me, like, people know when there's certain things that I have a harder time saying no to. Purple stuff tends to be one of those things. I like that purple stuff. But yeah, anyways, actually we're pushing into the last, I wanted to do no more than 90 minutes here, just so we can get everyone back into their jam. So we're about 15 minutes before ending, potentially. Let's get some questions going, but then continue talking. But Elnick asks, yes,
I just saw that one. Confirm something for me, please. Were you at 2019 RMA night before generating some strange ball with Zach, Bevan, and a bunch of other peeps? No, I was not. So that was when I was with my other brand that I was to not be mentioned, and I really wasn't in touch with the community as I am now. So I went to RMAF on my own. Didn't know anyone, met the few people I did know off Headphone, then went home. So, no.
Actually, you and Elnick are practically neighbors.
You should hit me up on
that.
So, no, but hopefully that will change in the very near future when shows start again. SoCal will be popping. Can't wait to see you guys out there that are good. You're going, and same with all the shows in 2022. So hopefully we'll get to meet everyone and have dinner with everyone, because that's the best part. That's the best part of what we do, is all seeing friends.
Dude, and so here's another fun fact for me, and maybe you can say similar. So every time I've done a show, a meetup, a headphone meetup, any of these things, and maybe it's just me, but like, I've talked to some other people about this, I almost never listen to audio. Like, it's like 10% listening to audio and 90% just chatting with people. Like, that's been.
I mean, like, the weird thing is, like, I'm always in like a rock and hard place. Like, why am I doing this? Is it because of the community, or is it because of my love of music? And like, as I get older, it's like, I don't know one other community in, like, speaking of industries I've been in, film, video games, just a bunch of different forms of entertainment, and like any other industry that has this close to the community and all different subsets of it too. And it's like, that's what makes it special, is like, we all love music. That's what draws us here, but it's the community that keeps us here too.
Oh yeah. That's actually perfectly apt, dude. Like, I came into headphones. I mean, I always had headphones, but I never had like high-end headphones, right? Like, but it was because of video games. So that's what brought me over, because I wanted good video headphones because I had my daughter. I wanted headphones for listening instead of speakers, and so she could sleep. Blah blah blah.
Yep.
And it's like you come for the audio and the music, and it's and you stay for the community and the music.
Yep.
Does that make sense? Like it's like it's weird. Like the gear is just kind of like that
drawing effect, or
the drawing, or it's the thing that brings everyone together technically, but the thing that everyone stays for is for the music and the people at the end of the day, right? Like it's such a you nailed it. Like it's such a unique kind of thing. And you have obviously varying groups, but in that niche, but there's a constant of like that people and music, right? Like at the end of the day, we're here for the music and the people, and it's pretty awesome, you know. Like that's definitely one of the coolest things, is having that great community. And
like it's always hard when, because I'm always that friend in my friend group, so it's like that audio friend, that Star Wars friend, and it's like Star Wars is very much the same reason you came for Star Wars, but you stay for the community, the people. And like when people ask me what I do for work, it's like I can explain.
I talk to people so other people don't have to.
Exactly, that's one way to put it. But it's like it's really hard for me to explain like why I love my job so much, because like the easiest way is like it's being paid for stuff that I would have already been doing no matter what, anyways. But now I get to do it for a full-time career, which is awesome. So, life finds, as Jeff Goldblum says, life finds a way.
Life finds a way. It's true. Actually, like, so I'm a huge. Actually, I have a bunch of Lego Star Wars stuff, but I'm a huge Lego Star Wars. I'm not the video games, but the Lego. Like, I love putting the Legos together, and especially the Star Wars stuff. I have a bunch that are not put together yet, and I have a bunch of like the every May the 4th. They do the special limited. If you buy, so they get these special limited ones. So I have 2 of those in the last 2 years of those. So I love those ones. The little dioramas are really cool.
And like for me, I mean, I was really big into Lego Star Wars when I was a kid. But I mean, I always go in phases in life, and like I just don't think I've gotten back into that phase yet. But I'm sure I will eventually. I mean, come on, it's such a huge part of our fandom. It's kind of like obligatory for us too. It's like I don't need more expensive hobbies.
But at the end of the day, that's the other factor.
Legos
are expensive. Like it's
scary,
expensive. Yeah, like I remember being a kid. Like what? I mean, we had tons of Legos, and I'm like, they couldn't have been that expensive. My parents did not like buying me toys, so they couldn't have been that expensive, right? Like, so we had a ton of Legos, and so yeah, like it's funny. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask them here in the chat, and we'll get to them. But I thought this was a fun little hangout and chill. Like, and that was kind of the point for this one, was to kind of just have a good chill, come back into the world moment, especially right before Can Jam. I think that's gonna be super fun. I went to the last Can Jam before they stopped them in SoCal, and that was a lot of fun.
We probably walked by each other. And
we probably did.
Didn't know each other. I'm
a big tattooed guy, so a lot of people don't really like approaching me. So
look at that asshole. Speaking of
it's actually about, like, I have a bunch of good friends. Like, actually, like my tight knit group of friends that are military friends we stay in touch, and they're all over the States. But every last one of them, their first reaction was like, "Oh, who's this a-hole with the tattoos? He's got to be a dude. He's gonna be the biggest dick and douche."
Turns out completely the opposite.
Yeah, that's what they said. They're like, "Then it turns out you're the biggest nerd we know." And it's like, and we just play video games and hang out. And I just happened to like lifting weights at the same time, and like, you know, I mean, I had all these. I've always been a hobby collector, so I think that's the factor. Like I always want to try everything. That's one of the things I've always been a big fan of, is trying as much as I possibly can.
Like, more reasons were similar too, because it's like, for me, I'm always that person that's like the dark, mysterious, brooding friend of like, people don't really know you until they get to know you.
Yeah.
And it's like, it takes me a long ass time for me to open up to people in general, because it's I have to vibe check you. I have to check if you're all kosher, and then like we have to get to know each other. And like I'm always like, whenever I meet new people, especially recently at the gym I'm at, so I'm still comparably new there. It's like, I really like you, but I don't know.
Where's the other egg gonna come? And so I used to be super cautious. Like I used to be really, really bad, like to the point where I was almost reclusive. I did not do well. So
Yeah.
it was only until probably my mid 30s, the late early to mid 30s is when I really started like trying to take more chances on people, like
Yeah.
and it's bitten me a couple times, but at the end of the day it's been, and you're kind of probably finding this out too now, is like it's actually, like you mentioned before, it's actually worth it, even for those bites that you get where they bite you in the butt. It's actually worth it
to have that life
power
experience.
through those, to have those interactions with the good people, the people
Yeah.
that, like, I wouldn't have met Torque, I wouldn't have met yourself, I wouldn't have met Antdroid, I wouldn't have met if I hadn't been in that mentality of, okay, let's push and like let's just say hi, let's be proactive.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's definitely it's something you can learn. You can push yourself to do it. It's not easy. I don't think it's easy.
Part of my friends, it fucking sucks. Especially when you're someone that's still has that, I don't know, like the best way to describe it is like that fat kid mentality of like you're always the one that's gonna be like the last choice, no matter what.
Yeah, I got you.
Sorry, deep.
No, you're good, dude. Like, I'm trying to, like, 'cause I mean, and I don't want to say that I was like the super shy guy, but I was always somewhat, like, one of my nicknames was Shy Guy Ty when I was a kid, and so I mean, there's that. But I was never. But once you got me talking, and the aunt could probably talk to this. I talk, man. That's one of the things I like, talking to people. It's it's fun. I enjoy it. I enjoy the social interaction. I love seeing and interacting with people. But one of those things. Like this, I love this. I think it's so much fun. It's fun getting to know people that you can't because of COVID. That's part of the reason why I started doing this too. It's just that like you can't do it in person now, and so
that's why you book a flight so you can drink whiskey in person.
Yeah. Well, if so that's what we were discussing earlier. I might be heading out to Colorado, even though RMAF's not happening now. But I need to talk to the wife about it and figure out what we're doing. Since I got canceled, she bought me RMAF tickets and flights and all that stuff to go to RMAF for my birthday, and now it's not happening. So now I need to figure out.
Sorry, wife. Readjust to SoCal for me, please.
Well, and then I want to go to. We go to SoCal a lot because, like I said, her family's down there, and we have a lot of friends down there. But I do want to do a trip. To SoCal. Just because I have a lot of people that I want to chat with and hang out with, which would be Rosin, Justin from Amson Sound. A lot of the people from Headphones are down there too.
You should introduce Justin too, because we'll both be there, and I'm just trying to meet as many people as I can that weekend.
Gotcha.
So.
Yeah, man.
Oh wait, my camera died.
I think, yeah. I think you're stuck in a pretty. Yeah, there you go. And it was. You're stuck in this great position. I'll be happy to introduce you to Justin. Dude, Justin's a good.
Don't mean me like we did this for Tyler with the Diablo live stream. That's one for the books. That's totally.
Yeah.
But a great emote you have as a emoji now.
It is an emote. That's the one that's on the Discords.
This is the ZMFAL 6 Diablo soundgasm.
And so that's actually another point. Like, if Chicago, like, I want to go to Chicago.
The Marriott Marquis where it was for a Star Wars celebration. Actually, the last one that was before COVID was.
See, and because we go to SoCal,
it was so much fun.
And that's part of the thing, like, right? Like, so if I could technically go to Can Jam, but SoCal, but we go there all the time. Like, so there's part of me that's like, and if I'm going to take my wife and daughter and we're going to go as a fan, like, I want to go someplace, no offense to SoCal, but like, we go there a lot. So I want to go someplace new and fresh and experience the city. And that's something we like to do.
Wait for Can Jam, the inevitable Can Jam Denver to come.
And that's why it's like Chicago. Like, I want to go to, like, Snow Ranger's saying, Can Jam Chicago. And I have a bunch of people in Chicago from the whiskey side of the house I would love to go hang out with as well. And plus Zach and Bevan are there. So it's like, that'd be
like that perspective from like it's like New York, because I've never been to NYC, and I have a bunch of publicity friends mainly, and industry friends that it's not an excuse for me. Like, go and experience, like, be a tourist, not only, but like, go see everything.
Hang
with
out
all
with
your
people
friends
you.
there. Mhm.
Yeah, dude, and that's part of the reason why I'm kind of like apprehensive or don't really necessarily want to be going to Canjam. I
You're
want to go to
just-
Canjam SoCal because I want to see everybody, I want to say hi and all that fun stuff. But at the same time, I only have a limited amount of trips I can be taking, so it's like.
You're jaded against SoCal because it's not interesting enough.
Yeah, like I've been there. I've been there 100 times, a million times. You know, like I grew up. I'm from California originally. Like, so I've my wife grew up there, and like I grew up there, and so it's just one of those things where it's not. I didn't grow up in SoCal. I was a NorCal kid, but at the same time, like
Yeah.
Anyway,
And it's like same for me too. It's like I haven't been to SoCal in 2 years now, basically since like 2 years.
Cool COVID,
well,
yeah.
last Canjam SoCal was the
Canjam
last
SoCal.
time, basically the time I was in SoCal. And it's
actually,
like,
if you watch the hi-fi YouTube video for Canjam SoCal, I'm in there like a bunch.
you just like randomly coming across as a Jew.
Yeah, like all the pans. Like I'm always in all the pans. Sorry.
Tyler's just placing himself, wanting to be famous, knowing he would be here today.
Totally. Well, usually I'm like sitting there like playing with a camera, or I'm like,
That's funny.
Yeah,
that's so funny.
It'd be hilarious. I just go back and look because I haven't looked at that video since it came out, but like and see all the people that I've interacted with since that are now friends and what have you, right? Or industry people that are now.
Precog was probably there.
This is his first Canjam. I'm pretty sure this is his first one.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Scratch that then.
Taryn asked, "Pro I can go blue win."
Hold on. This is super ghetto, but I don't know what I'm doing. Focus, please. Go blue.
Get some blue tack and just tack it to the side.
Literally, you're pro icon on top of it. You're go blue on top of pro icon. Sorry, Taryn.
Dude, Taryn, man, I don't know if you watched the whole thing, but like the mic on that thing is stupid. That's what he's using. It's stupid good. It's really good. Like I thought it was a Rode Wireless Pro, like little fantastic sounding.
No, we need to and then we'll be set.
Yeah, go clip it. Anyway, so like that's one of those things. Like like I think I would love to travel more and do more, and maybe I'll talk to the wife and we might do a last minute trip down to SoCal. So it's just a matter of swapping the flights and stuff, but we'll see. But then that's the other factor is like my daughter's not vaccinated yet; she's too young. So it's like we worry about that, and so we have to like
make it work.
Play that game.
If not, we'll see each other soon.
Yeah, I mean, no matter what, eventually it will happen. Yeah, so I do have plans to go meet Alex, and I do have plans to eventually go see Justin and what have you too. So, and that'd be kind of a fun, maybe try and.
That'd be really fun if you could do an interview with Alex in the studio.
That's what I want to do. So I actually have had Grover. So I actually introduced Grover to both Alex and Justin to Alex. And I was telling them they should all three get together and do a Rad Zero Forge and or Amps and Sound like Hangout and do a video of that. So hopefully, I think Grover is working on that. So he's going to do hopefully a video where they all three come together and do a video like that. And maybe
a custom forge for the Rad Zero. In the long run.
Dude, because I'm telling you, man, there's something about Amps and Sound, their amps and the Rad Zero.
Yeah,
like
I'll hear that at a show. I'll take a Rad from the booth and just like run over and be like, "Let me hear this, please."
And Justin will be there, so you can listen to some of his other amps as well. But like the Forge was, I'm telling you, that was my.
Can I show you
butter and chocolate?
Can I show you? Like, I mean, the only downside is like we never have like we. Not yet. I will not confirm or deny anything. But we don't have like a full-on tube amp, and like that's one of the things that Amps and Sound does so well is their full-on tube stuff.
Agree. Yeah, dude, they have some. Dude, Justin, and then it goes back to that. And Justin's another one of those. It's that bespoke, unique thing, right? That's why. And it's you talk to him and you get the passion, like instantaneous. Like Zach and Bevan with ZMF, like you talk to them and it's like instantaneously you get it.
And
Right?
the one thing that revolves between like all the people that I work with, they all have that.
Yeah. Like Alex definitively has it. Like that. Like that dude just like he, eats, sleeps, and breathes like artistic.
He's the only
character.
person that I said, "Don't pay me, teach me, and pay me."
Dude, Alex he's a cool dude, man.
Well,
That's
actually,
cool
phrasing, pay me for your teachings. That's what we agree on, and no regrets.
Yeah, dude, Alex, dude, he's still one of the most impressive people I've met in the industry so far. Very cool cat for sure.
So, I'll probably be going to see them Monday, actually. So
in fact, I'm actually going to reach out to Alex here probably tomorrow or the next couple of days. I had a plan formulating in my head that I was thinking I might see if he might be interested in an idea that I have, but we'll see.
See me.
Will do, brother. So hey, on that note, I'll let you because it's getting late for you, I believe.
Yep. Got a pack for.
Yeah, you got to get going. You hitting the road tomorrow, right?
Yep, hitting the road tomorrow. Vegas for 2 days, seeing family for the first half in Santa Monica, then Irving for Anaheim, Disney, and then the
Disney's gonna be hot, dude. I'm excited I'm excited for Disney when we finally go with my daughter, dude, because I think
she'll especially if she's a Star Wars fan too. Because I'm gonna lose my pool seeing Rise for the first time, but I lost my pool seeing Galaxy's Edge for the first time 2 years ago.
Recently. Oh, I was talking to a fellow YouTuber. He's way more popular than I am, but he went recently, and he was saying the Star Wars rides, like epic, like fantastically epic. So
just was that you get what you pay for.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you'll see photos, you'll see all the jazz. Follow me on Instagram.
And, his Instagram is, by the way, so Seb's Instagram, I have it in the link below in the description. If you click on the link or click on the description expander, whatever, I don't know how. Anyways, it's right below the description.
You're showing your age right now, Tyler.
I'm a boomer. I got the grays. All right.
Sorry, the violations.
You're good, man. I'm not offended by it. Doesn't bother me none. It's all in good faith and good humor. Yes. Hey, Mark, what's going on? You caught us right as we're getting ready to close down the show, my man.
What's up, Mark?
But yeah, man. So looking forward to your Disney pictures. Looking forward to Can Jam pictures, and I'll talk to the wife. And maybe don't expect it, but there's like a couple percentage chance I might go to Can Jam SoCal, but we'll see.
Pictures with Tyler. Count on that. No, I'm kidding. Go.
Yeah, if I'm down there, we'll definitely have some pictures together. But yeah, man. So
cool.
Enjoy your trip. Drive safe.
Pleasure.
Or are you flying? Or are you driving?
Driving. Have too much stuff to fly with.
Yeah, man. All right. Well, hey, drive safe. Enjoy Vegas. Enjoy Santa Monica. One of my favorite places. Yes. I love that place. Santa Barbara is probably number one for me in California as far as spots. But
number two.
And then obviously the SoCal proper, and if I don't see we'll be chatting. We'll be chatting on the chat.
We'll be chatting, and it's always not see you later forever, but see you soon. So
yep. All right, everybody.
Bye, y'all.
Cheers. Have a good one.